Yeah, UK has $48 to spend. They must spend $6 on their tech, but the good news is that they get their tech. Remember, the rule in the BBR is you don't have to reveal your tech until you use it. And the British will not be using their tech this turn, so it's still going to remain a secret until a situation arises in which it can be used, and then it will be revealed. They're going to spend $12 on a tank and 2 infantry. They're going to spend $12 on a factory, and they're going to spend $18 on 3 artillery and a tank. In terms of attacks, there is only 1. Well, 2 technically, I guess, and they're both in the Mideast. The artillery from Iraq will be attacking the 2 units in Persia or Iran, and the tank from Iraq will be blitzing through northwest Persia or northwest Iran into Persia or / Iran, plus the 2 infantry from eastern Persia will be going into Persia / Iran as well. That's the only attacks that are happening. So we'll set this up on the board and roll them out. Okay, this is the attack on Persia or Iran. The Brits are coming in with, oh, I didn't put the dice out. 1 unsupported infantry, a supported infantry and an artillery, and a tank. And the Persians or Iranians are defending with 2 infantry. So 1 unsupported at 1, 1 supported at 2, 1 artillery at 2, and 1 tank at 3. No hits. Great start. No hits. Okay, so no harm, no foul. No hits. Jesus. No hits. The dice today, man. That's better. 2 hits. Battle's over. Defense. No hits. So the Brits take the territory with no casualties. Okay, for non-combat, the British fleet in Sea Zone 98 is going to go through the Suez Canal and end up in Sea Zone 81. The mechanized infantry in Egypt is going to go to French Equatorial Africa, and the infantry and artillery from Anglo-Egyptian Sudan are going to go to French Equatorial Africa. The fleet that is in Sea Zone 80, 2 transports and a battleship, will move into Sea Zone 81 and link up with the rest of the British fleet there. In the Pacific, the Brits have 2 non-combat moves to make. They're going to move 2 of their infantry from Burma into Shan State, and they're going to move 2 infantry and an artillery from India into Burma. And that is the non-combat. So let me tidy up the board and we'll be back in a sec. Alright, placements. The UK is going to build 3 artillery and a tank in India. Starting to think about slightly more offensive things there. In Egypt, they're going to put their new minor factory. And in all the way down in South Africa, they are going to build 2 infantry and a tank in preparation for the Germans, who are actually threatening in Africa over here with that little transport. That is a pain in the butt. Okay, in terms of income, the adjustment to make is here. There's no money for Northwest Persia per se, but they do own it now. There is, however, money for Persia, and that's $2. So we will make the change on the chart here, and the Brits go from $41 to $43 tied with the Germans right now. So base income is 43. However, we do have a convoy to roll. Now remember that the sub is going to get a minimum of $1, but they could convoy up to $6 here. Now technically up to $9, but there's only one sub in the region. So we are going to roll 2. 1, 2, or 3 on either of these die are convoy rolls, and if he misses on both of them, he gets a minimum of 1. So we got 2 convoy. Okay, so instead of collecting 43, they have convoyed $2 away from them, so they will collect 41. However, the UK picks up all of its potential or possible bonuses because just for the hell of it, they did declare war on the Japanese, because there's no point not declaring war on the Japanese at this point since the Americans have already done so. So they will collect the bonus for having Kwangtung and Malaya. They will collect the bonus for Alexandria, Egypt, and Transjordan. And they will collect the 3 $2 bonuses for the 3 Middle Eastern territories of Iraq, Northwest Persia/Iran, and Persia/Iran. So they're going to start next turn with $41, $51, $53, $55, $57 to spend. Okay, so the Italians are up next. We'll see what they can do with their very, very limited resources. Okay. Okay, we forgot to do disposition of forces. In the United Kingdom, in the capital, 18 infantry, 3 fighters, plus 1 French fighter, 3 anti-aircraft artillery, 1 mechanized infantry, and 4 visiting Canadian forces, 2 infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 tank. In the Med, zooming out a smidge, in Malta we still have an infantry and an anti-aircraft artillery. In Egypt there are 4 infantry, 2 artillery, 1 fighter, and 1 tactical bomber. In C-Zone 81, there are 2 transports, 2 destroyers, 1 cruiser, and 1 battleship. In French Equatorial Africa, there is an infantry, an artillery, and a mechanized infantry. In the Union of South Africa, there is a tank, and there are 2 infantry. In Persia/Iran, there are 2 infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 tank. Moving into the Pacific, in India, there is a tank and 3 artillery. In Burma, there are 8 infantry, 1 artillery, 3 anti-aircraft artillery, 1 fighter, and 1 visiting Australian fighter. In Shan State, there are 3 infantry plus a visiting Australian infantry. And in Kwangtung, there are 2 infantry. Remember as well, of course, as I mentioned, a state of war now exists between England and Japan, which means that a state of war exists between the Aussies and Japan as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, there we go.